BooTube. Yeah, hang on for a sec. There you go. Angling right there. But anyway, I have watched episode 14, finally, at least 14 of, and half of 15 of, Fear the Walking Dead Season 2 season finale, which was a whole hour-long episode, which was combination of 14 and 15. So now I actually can do a reaction rant to it. Shocker. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm totally out of it today. I'm just... It's semi-hot, but not too hot where I'm dying. But, yeah, let's get into it. Episode 4... Fear the Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 14, which was part of the hour-long season finale, and I believe this one was titled Wrath. I wonder why, because in the last episode, remember, Travis ended up at the hotel, right? And remember, toward the end of the last episode, those two guys that were with Chris, Travis's son, when Chris left his dad behind, they showed up with another group of people, survivors, in front of the hotel without Chris. So I wonder why this one's titled Wrath, right? Hang on for a sec. Ooh, someone uploaded shit. I'm keeping that. But anyway, hang on. So I don't accidentally turn it on. But anyway, I know my PlayStation controller. But anyway, let's get to it. We actually see what happens with Ophelia. Apparently the truck that she stole from Strand, it breaks down in the Mexico desert. Mexico! And, while she's checking the engine, you know, a group of infected show up, and we saw the most coolest thing in the world. The sad part is I can't call her a BA girl, because it's cursing. I don't want to risk getting my channel, like, another mark. I already got a mark because of Disney. But, like, you know how they say no cursing? So I can't, but, like, BADASS chick. She turned totally like that right there. And it was amazing, because she pretty much killed pretty much almost all those infected that were coming at her, except for, like, one. She impaled one while the other ones were, like, all killed by her. And she just takes all her stuff out of the truck. Like, a small little herd starts coming at her, right? Because, of course, it caused noise, what she was doing, and the infected that she straight up killed. So, like, there's, like, an incoming herd heading toward her. And she's just casually getting stuff out of the truck that she needs, like the bucket of water, her bag, and, of course, her hammer, and she just peacefully walks on foot. And it's like, she doesn't even run. Not even fast walk. She just gracefully walks away, right? I'm like, girls are BADASS, man. Just it's too beautiful. But anyway, and, let's get to, Colonia with Nick. Nick's in bed with Luciana. And, in the middle of the night, he ends up sneaking out and meeting with that one guy, Ronaldo. And they pretty much head into the infirmary, you know, sneaking past a sleeping, shoot, I forgot his name again. What was his name? This is so bad. Alejandro, there you go. Oh my gosh, how could I have forgotten that name already? But, they managed, like, Ronaldo and Nick managed to get into the infirmary, sneak past the sleeping Alejandro, and steal some oxycodone, because they're making the run themselves together, right? And during daylight, you know, they pass on the bus out of La Colonia and deliver the drugs to Marco. And, you know, they arrive at El Pelicano, which is that one, grocery marketplace that they were at, Marco and them. And they pretty much tell Antonio they need to speak to Marco and all that stuff, and they give the oxycodone. But Marco says he no longer has need for their supply anymore, which is very bad, you know what I mean? Because that was the reason why Marco never, you know, attacked Colonia, is because Colonia had the oxycodone he needed, right? And for some reason now he doesn't need it, so I believe maybe it's because something may have happened to that one sister. Remember, he had a sister that was a druggie? That was the main reason why he wanted the oxycodone. Maybe the sister died, and that's why he doesn't need the drugs anymore, right? Or maybe he just... Maybe they... Colonia ran out on their timeline, you know what I mean? And just saying, you know what, screw you guys. We don't need your supply anymore, right? But anyway, Marco says he doesn't need the supply anymore. And I'm only assuming because maybe Marco's druggy sister might have died. That's what I'm assuming. But anyway, I thought that was the reason, but apparently he tells Nick that Marco's little group pretty much joined with a more powerful gang. And now they're going to go over to Colonia and pretty much take over, right? And Nick's all like, well, if you're going to take over, what will happen to all the residents there in Colonia? And Marco pretty much says he doesn't care about anyone in Colonia. He's just going to take it over, right? And unfortunately, to prove a point, Marco reveals that, remember when Francisco escaped Colonia with his wife and their daughter, and Marco's group ended up finding them? Unfortunately, to prove a point to Nick what he was going to do to the residents of Colonia, he is shown that, pretty much off-screen, that he killed Francisco, his wife, and unfortunately killed the daughter too, which broke my heart, because, when they were first found by Marco's group, they were treating the little girl like a princess. They even call her Princesa, you know what I mean? And it's like, they killed the little girl, man. It's just, salt on wounds right now. Just salt on wounds. But Marco's pretty much telling Nick, after that revelation, he's like, you better leave La Colonia if you want to live. Because we're just gonna, with our new powerful huge gang, we're gonna go over to La Colonia and pretty much kill everyone there. So if you want your life spared, I suggest you get out of Colonia, right? But anyway, back with Travis. Travis manages to wake up in Madison's hotel, after the reunion with... And, she's trying to make him feel better because, he's so depressed about the fact that Chris pretty much left with two other guys and pretty much, they separated, right? And, she's trying to invite him to join the rest of the group downstairs, you know what I mean? And, but that moment Travis just wants to be alone, and Alicia ends up coming later on and bringing Travis some food. And Travis does admit, I'm sorry, Chris is sick, he has a problem, he's into killing way too much, and I apologize for not believing you when you said he had a problem and not being able to protect you and all that stuff. So basically Travis is telling Alicia, like this, they have this, in a way, like a father-daughter moment where he's like, look, I'm sorry for not believing when you said something was wrong with Chris and that he was sick and he tried to attack you. I'm sorry for not believing you on that, and I'm sorry for not being able to protect you from him when Chris threatened her and all that stuff. And it was a nice bonding moment. I really do like that bonding moment that they had. It was to me it was like a touching moment, And it was like a reality check for Travis, seeing Chris that way. It was like a reality check for him. So it was pretty good for him to actually have that reality check and to actually apologize to Alicia, because Alicia was telling him over and over again when the group was still together, something's wrong with your son. And I'm not surprised that Alicia would be the one, because Alicia, look who her brother is. Look who Nick is. She's dealt with a druggy brother. She knows when something's wrong with somebody. She's dealt with that with her own brother, because her brother was a druggie. So she knows when someone's sick. Like, it's not like coughing sick, even mental sickness. She knows what that's like. She's had an addict for a brother, you know what I mean? So she recognizes the signs of someone who's like mentally not there. So I just thought in the end it was pretty cool to see the fact that, Travis actually apologizing to Alicia for not believing her, especially since she knows what it's like to have someone near her, close to her, in a way, having some sort of mental sickness. With Chris, it's his easel. The fact that he was so easy and to kill anyone with no remorse, and for Nick, it was his addiction to drugs. She recognizes the signs of sickness, mental sickness, and Travis knew that Alicia recognizes those signs, and he didn't believe her, so it was just good to see that bonding moment and for him to apologize for that. But anyway, Madison, she's checking with Alicia, who are pretty much taking care of the survivors that came in the garage, and yes, 2 of those survivors were those 2 guys, Brandon and Derek, the ones that Chris left with and came to the hotel without. And Alicia is all telling her mother how much Brandon and Derek were like annoying the heck out of her, right? And you pretty much can see how horrible these guys are, because they're like loudly saying horrible things about every Mexicano patient there. Because remember, those 2 were the only ones in the group that were, American. The others were all Mexicano, right? So they're all like making horrible, crude comments about every single Mexicano there. And at the same time, Brandon's complaining about his dislocated shoulder like a baby in a pansy, right? So Madison's all trying to help Alicia out because, Alicia's the one taking care of them and everyone else there. And she's trying to quiet down these 2 guys, to settle down. And pretty much to ask what happened, right? And she learns from Brandon that he hurt his shoulder in a car accident. And, she's like, go into detail, right? They go into detail about the car accident. Of course, Madison doesn't know that these 2 were the ones that were with Chris and Travis, and the ones that Chris left with and abandoned Travis, right? She has no idea. And of course, Brandon and Derek have no idea that Madison and Travis are together and all that stuff, right? So they're going into detail about their car accident. That's how Brandon hurt his shoulder. And they said, they got into a car accident because they let their companion, who was a 16-year-old from Los Angeles, to drive the truck that they were in without a license. And so apparently, according to Brandon and Derek, they got in a car accident because they let their 16-year-old companion from LA drive the truck without a license, and he apparently crashed the truck. And after that, they also admitted the crash that they were in, because that 16-year-old apparently crashed the truck. They said that their friend who was driving died in the accident, which is like, oh my god, is Chris actually dead? Is this like confirmed that Chris is dead? Madison managed to figure out that these 2 kids are the very 2 kids that Chris joined up with and left his father for. And so Madison ends up going to Strand and saying, there are these 2 American boys, Brandon and Derek, they're in the parking garage. And it's like, these were the kids that Chris was with when he left Travis. And they said that they got into an accident and Chris is dead, right? According to the 2 boys, right? Strand's all like, don't tell Travis. Do not tell him at all, right? Because the knowledge of Chris, knowing that Chris is somewhere out there in Mexico alive, is the only thing that's keeping Travis going. It's keeping him motivated. It's keeping him from staying alive and motivated because he thinks he's going to see his son again. If he tells him that these 2 boys are the very same ones that Chris took off with, and the fact that both boys say that Chris died, it's going to kill him. Which is, I'm not surprised that Strand said that. I would have said the same dang thing. It's like, Travis is a father. Knowing his son is out there somewhere with a good chance alive, that would keep me going too if I was in Travis's shoes. But hearing that my son is possibly dead from a car accident while he left me for 2 strangers, I would not be okay. No parent wants to hear that their kid is dead, especially when they had a falling out and like separate ways, you know what I mean? And the reason why Strand says that is because Strand had that same hope Travis did. Travis' hope is that his son's alive out there in the world and that he's going to see him again. Strand had that same hope when it came to Thomas, right? And when Thomas died, he lost all that hope, so he knows the feeling, right? That's why Stratton is pretty much telling her, do not tell Travis about this. And Madison agrees that the news about Chris would definitely, break Travis, but she does not necessarily vocally agree. Oh my god, I'm running out of time. I'll see you in part 2, guys. Hang on.